We're live. Debriefing Oasis, the podcast proper. We've been doing some news events lately. We've interviewed some of the candidates running for office here in our community, Halifax County, Virginia. Thank you to everyone who liked and shared our recent interview with the candidate Jeff Oakes. He's running for AD3, Election District 3 Supervisor here in Halifax. That video has, to our statistics, almost 6,000 views. So we're very excited about that. You know, we're here doing some legitimate stuff. We've been doing the podcast. We've also been doing some like hard journalism. We may sort of differentiate at some point, so we may call the podcast one thing and the journalism something else. We do have HalifaxOasis.com, is it, or is it .org?
.com.
.com.
And it's Halifax, FACTS.
Yes, and so go check out that website. So we're continuing to develop the project. We thank you guys for already kind of being on board with us. We just interviewed another candidate, James Gordon. He's running for the seat that Stanley Brandon is vacating. He withdrew from that race. We're going to interview Mr. Gordon's opponent, Monty Thompson, on Friday. And we're also going to interview James Dixon, who's running against Supervisor Roller in Election District 2 on Friday as well. Yeah. And so that's what we have on our docket so far. We're going to continue to try to schedule with certain people. Now, I've already asked this on the Facebook page, but let me go ahead and ask during the podcast proper. Please go over to YouTube and subscribe to us on YouTube. As soon as we hit 50 subscribers on YouTube, we will be able to do live streams directly to YouTube. And it's our goal to get there. Eventually, we want to be multi-streaming. We want to be streaming to our Disturbed Oasis Facebook page and to our YouTube page at the same time. Facebook makes you wait 60 days. YouTube has a subscribers limit, so I believe we've got 23 subscribers. We need 27 more. It should be pretty easy to do. If you know the people who appreciate this content, please send the YouTube page to them to subscribe. Once we get to that 50 subscribers, we can really rock and roll.
Well, you're sure it's 50? I thought it was 100.
I look. Facebook was 160 days and YouTube was 50, but I can go back and fact check that again. But irregardless, we're not even at 50 yet, so let's go ahead and get to 50.
Irregardless is not a word.
It is.
It is not. It's regardless.
The dictionary agrees.
No. Get a dictionary.
The dictionary.
Get your phone.
The dictionary
No,
disagrees. My phone is pulled up to
word.
something. My phone is pulled up to something that's part of our content. So let's leave my phone where it is.
He just doesn't want to see.
Irregardless
I'm
is
right.
totally
He's
a word.
wrong. It is totally not a word. You
Hold
can't
on.
put IR on regardless.
You can. It just means the same thing
I'm
as
so
regardless.
tired. I think I'm going to do this one like this. What do you think? Do I need nip tuck?
I think we should move on with the podcast proper.
Anyway, right. So I want to mention a little bit. So everybody who is a newbie running for a Board of Supervisor position, which is Gordon, Thompson, Oakes, and Dixon, have all done an interview or are doing an interview by the end of this week. I'm real excited about that. What dictionary is that? That's the wrong dictionary. Look up Merriam-Webster.
From Oxford.
It's not a word.
I think Oxford.
And what would it mean anyway?
It means the same thing as
regardless.
It means the same thing as regardless.
Oh, so I can say can and cannot, and it means the same thing?
No, because it's not.
It's not
that
proper.
rule only applies to irregardless.
I was an English teacher for 10 years. Irregardless isn't a word. So anyway.
It's totally a word.
So there's a couple of Board of Supervisors I haven't called yet because oh, that sounds terrible. I've got like a priority list, and I'm working my way down it, but I'm going to get to all of you is what I'm trying to say.
The priorities list is sensible given journalism because the people who we need to talk to are the people who've been making controversial choices, like the group of 5.
But I'm not getting responses.
Yes.
Mr. Claiborne, who was on one of our lives and said, yes, text me and I'll set up an interview. Well, I've texted him twice and I've left a couple more messages and I'm not getting any feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Brandon said call him tonight, but I haven't been able to get him back on the phone. Mr. Pennell hasn't answered any calls. Who else was it?
Yeah, we did try to call Mr. Brandon. Okay, so we have already interviewed Mr. Pennell's opponent, Jeff Oakes. So we just need to say very clearly that we have continued to reach out to Mr. Pennell for interviews. So we're giving equal access to this platform to all the candidates. We're not picking and choosing favorites. We're not curating anything. We do not endorse candidates. well, I don't endorse candidates. You can do what you want to do. But, you know.
And then we have one, but we got to reach out to Mr. Roller, too.
We do need to specifically reach out to Mr. Roller. And then, of course, we've got James Gordon that's already just interviewed with us. That's our most recent interview we just did. And then Mr. Thompson, his opponent, will be interviewing with us Friday. We've already scheduled that.
As will Mr. Dixon.
Yeah, as will Mr. Dixon, who's running in District 2 against Mr. Roller. So anyway, we're giving equal access to this platform. It's up to the candidates to show up or not show up. And so we just want to make it very clear that we're not curating anything. We're not being selective. And everyone that we do an interview with, we prepare, and you know, we want to give people the platform to say their piece and give their little campaign spiel. But we also want to find the places where we ought to take people to task and ask the tough questions. I think we've been doing that across the board so far.
Yeah, I agree. And all the numbers are on the website if you want to call them yourselves, or you can go to, what was her name? Heather Harding, who is the voter registration at the Board of Elections.
You called her, I didn't.
Yes, well, she was great, because I was
Yes.
missing a couple of phone numbers, and she provided them for me. It's public information.
Yes.
So anybody can call Heather, get any of these candidates' phone number, and call them and tell them, hey, why don't you do an interview too, because we want to know your platform, or we want to ask you questions. Because that was what was cool about the Gordon interview today, was that we had people watching and commenting and asking questions. I love that.
And we were able to bring those comments into the live stream, into the actual interview. That's kind of the whole point, and really a big reason why we want to be streaming directly on YouTube, because YouTube has a great setup for being able to give us comments and feedback in real time. And then, you know, from a business perspective, we'll eventually do those super chats, you know.
Yeah,
so just saying, we'll do those super chats.
But we also want to be able to do interviews remotely. That's another big reason we're trying to jump on these other platforms.
Yeah.
But it's a little more tedious than I anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of doing it. You know, we're going to talk about monetizing this eventually, but you know, we started off thinking we were just going to do like one podcast a week. We very quickly found ourselves doing hard journalism.
Yeah.
And so the support is going to have to be there at some point, either through ad sales or through Patreon or some kind of subscription service. So we'll sort out all those details, and we'll let you know when we have them sorted out. But you guys need this service. You guys value this service already. We know, because we're getting lots of good feedback. People are glad to have this style of journalism in this county, which has not existed here for what we can tell for a long time.
But we also will always have some free stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because our goal is to reach people and community engagement and interaction and all that good stuff and education. So it's
that's what people do. That's what people do. Yeah.
Okay, but we just want to make it clear. If there's anything that you want to do is paid content.
Yeah.
We're still going to have
it'll be premium stuff. So like Patreon subscribers will get like premium content behind the scenes. You know, like that's when we get a little loosey goosey and have a couple beers. You know, that's
I don't drink, but anyway.
that's when you know, you get like a little bit more of a raw form, like a different type of conversation behind the paywall.
Yeah.
But most people put a lot of stuff in front of the paywall. That's kind of the business model these days.
But right now we're still kind of stuck doing it on my personal page until we get these platforms set up.
Yeah, so we're really in a hurry for that part. So go on over to YouTube. Thanks for your subscriptions on Facebook. The subscriptions on Facebook are already going well. If you're not already subscribed there, please give us a like.
I know. If we get 100 on Facebook, why don't we have 100 on YouTube?
Well, I mean, obviously
more people don't use YouTube.
More people are using the Facebook, and that's okay. I mean, YouTube's very millennial-centric, and we just mentioned in our interview with Mr. Gordon that our community is very geriatric-centric. So, you know, so that's part of the reason. That's the difference between, you know, what are people comfortable using? You know, what platforms are people comfortable using? And but yeah, we need those subscriptions on Facebook. We're just gonna knuckle this. I'm gonna actually call individuals and ask them to subscribe, because we're 27 subscriptions away. That's not that much, and it's really gonna make a big difference in our process. I am looking forward to being able to do stuff without having to leave the house, you know. So
I know. Well, and I would like to have like a 4-way screen where we're interviewing 2 people and we're all doing like a round table.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to do at work on those Teams things and
yeah, we do need to post it. Yeah, we'll add the
Zoom
link.
things, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we will add. We haven't done it yet, but we'll add the YouTube is already linked to the Facebook page, but we'll make sure to put it in a comment.
It is.
For this.
Yeah, we've got them linked together. You should be able to look, and it's also posted on the website.
Mm-hmm.
There's links to everything. But that's the update on the Board of Supervisors situation.
Yes,
interview
those
schedule.
are our general updates.
Check in Friday. I think we're doing one interview about 2:30 or 3, the other one about 4:30 or 5, somewhere around there.
Right.
Now, one thing I feel like we haven't done this in forever. We both have had some pretty heavy personal burdens in the last few days, so I haven't gotten to devote as much time to some of this as I want to. But we haven't talked about national things.
Well, and last week I tried to live stream Wednesday evening, but I had a technical issue, so that's why we missed our regular kind of time slot. But we'd already produced content last week, so we don't feel like we're cheating you guys. Especially since we haven't even monetized this yet, so there you go. So you're welcome for all this. Yeah, you're welcome for all this work that we're doing for free. Okay, so
we love it. Don't listen to him.
I would love it. I would love it more. I would love it even more. But okay. So now, so what do we want to talk about in the national scene? Last week, what I had hoped to talk about was that big press conference that we had with the Epstein survivors. Some of the big revelations out of that they're going to produce their own Epstein client list.
That's interesting.
And make that available to the public. There was also a petition to get a hearing on the floor of Congress that was co-sponsored bipartisan with Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey, and Marjorie Taylor Greene co-sponsored it, and so did Lauren Boebert, and so did Nancy Mace. Very interesting that you have a lot of Republican women that hopped on board.
Or just women.
Well, all three of them are Republican. Well, there were there were no Democrat women as co-sponsors that were listed though, or were there? So Ro Khanna was the main Democrat sponsor of the petition. So what they want to do is basically do a file dump. They want all the government documents from all the agencies, the intelligence agencies, the law enforcement agencies. This bill would say, okay, just make everything public. Everything that a congressperson can see, the public needs to be able to see. And it's still to this day, it's 2 votes away from getting the 218 majority that it would need to pass on the Congress floor. Our congressman here in District 5, Virginia, John McGuire, he is a Republican. In the 5th district, you're only pretty much ever going to get a Republican winning. So we knew that he was going to be a Republican. This was the Trump-endorsed candidate. He ran against Bob Good. And Bob Good had served since 2020, so he had been.
He was Trump-endorsed.
No, Trump endorsed. Well, Trump did endorse Bob Good during the previous election cycle.
And then switched it. Okay.
But Bob Good had endorsed DeSantis during the primary, so Trump. The narrative goes that Trump punished him by not giving him the endorsement, and he gave the endorsement to McGuire. Now, I kind of did a little bit of the deep dive research on McGuire. McGuire, to give you context, and I have friends that support him, conservative friends that say he's a good guy. I don't really know, but when I did my deep dive research on him last year, most of his money came from outside of District 5. He had a lot of money coming in from California, a lot of money coming in from Northern Virginia. He was rumored to, I wasn't able to independently verify this, but the reputation was that he got the Kevin McCarthy money, so like people that are in Kevin McCarthy's circle were kind of funding him and pushing him. He also did not actually have a platform. So if you were looking last year at Bob Good versus John McGuire, like I said, most of his money was coming in from outside of the district, and he had no platform on his website whatsoever. So it was interesting to see that a lot of the portion of the Republican Party, whether locally in the district, the type of people who like to distance themselves from MAGA and Trumpism, they hopped onto McGuire in part because Bob Good was such a big vocal voice on the Freedom Caucus. He had such a MAGA reputation. So it was more of the elitist Republicans who were not as pro-MAGA who were getting behind John McGuire. But then when Trump endorsed him, they went buck wild and crazy because they knew they were going to win. So all of a sudden they were Trump fans. So it's interesting to see those little sort of like petty inconsistencies that people are manifesting. It's like, okay, on one hand we're this, on one hand we're that. But this was the Trump-endorsed candidate. We're in a state of the situation where Trump is seen as an impediment to making these documents public. That Trump is sort of like is trying to downplay what's happening. It's like a hoax and that kind of thing. I would encourage people to try to tip McGuire in the direction of supporting this petition so that we can get full transparency of the documents. And I brought his number. He has an office in Lynchburg, On Timberlake Road, 20564 Timberlake Road in Lynchburg.
Let me write that in the comments too.
Okay. Put the number in the comments. The number is 434
McGuire. Hang on, 434
791 2596. So this is a good way for people to get involved. You are in the district. If you voted for McGuire, say, hey, I voted for you. I think you should support this. That people on both sides of the aisle want transparency on this. We would like you to get on the correct side of this. If you did not vote for him, just say, I'm in your district. I really want to see some transparency on this issue. Let's try to we only need 2 votes. There only need to be 2 more votes, and they have to be
2 more Republican votes?
Well, all the Democrats are supporting it so far.
Right, so 2 more Republican votes. Yeah. And what's the name of the bill so they know what to say?
This is a petition.
Call them up. Okay, I want you to support the petition that...
Yeah, okay. Well, you can keep doing this, or you can, that's not going to make the words come out.
You're dragging it out, not me.
Yeah, well, you know the answer to the question just as much as I do, don't you?
No.
But you don't. Okay,
it's
this
not
is the
called a
petition.
bill.
This is the petition to move this bill to the floor. That's going to make the Epstein files transparent. So support. We want him to sign the petition to support full transparency of all the government documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case and its human trafficking, which would include pretty much everything.
Okay, that's better.
Okay.
People need to specifically know what to say. So, Nancy thinks, she said, I hope it passes. Well, I sure do too, because I would think if there's one thing that is a uniting topic of any and everybody, it's what are the polls showing? It's something like 84%, even the hard right, MAGA, whatever people.
Right.
They all want support, transparency, and to release these files because this is one of the most horrific things of our time. And it's children.
Right.
For God's sakes, everybody says you want to protect the children. Well, here we go.
Yes.
Let's get some truth and transparency here. Everybody says we don't care who's on it. They need to be punished or accountable, whether it's Republican, Democrat, black, white, young, old, whatever. Any of them. If it was my dad, I'd say go get him.
We need to know. I mean, we need to know.
God.
There's been this shroud of secrecy. Apparently Ghislaine Maxwell got convicted for human trafficking to no one, apparently, who was she trafficking to? So, I mean, it's obvious that, we've got multiple administrations now that are participating in this cover-up.
Right.
Big props to the people who are spearheading this the most are Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey. Big props to both of them. Big props to having a conference with people who are seen as polarized. I mean, they had Marjorie Taylor Greene speak. They had a bunch of people at this conference. Everybody's getting correct on this, and these are some of the same people that are getting correct on Israel-Gaza too. Marjorie Taylor Greene has become a very big voice in favor of stopping the genocide in Gaza. So this is a time period of coming together. This is a time period of depolarization. On the one hand, we see them at the national stage sort of setting a positive example of that behavior. In the context of a powerhouse press conference, if you haven't watched the whole thing, I encourage you to do so. There were some really beautiful testimonies and some very powerful testimonies of victims of the Epstein operation, as well as Virginia Giuffre's relatives, the people, she did not kill herself recently. And so her, I believe it was her widower.
If you could hear them over the planes flying over.
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course, and we both interpreted that the same way. That seemed the timing seemed deliberate there. But yeah. So anyway, but this is something that we can actually do. 2 more congressional Republicans, and we've got one right here who is supposed to be responding to our concerns. So call John McGuire. Make your voice known. Let's try to get this petition signed so that we can force a vote on the House, and then irregardless of whether it passes or not. The dictionary agrees with Sean, by the way. We did look that up. But irregardless of whether or not, and Mariah Carey put it in a song. Mariah Carey put it in a song. No, Mariah Carey always gets her.
50 wrongs don't make it right.
She always
gets your other sentence about the Epstein files.
No, it must be said that Mariah Carey always gets her SAT words correct. She always gets her SAT words correct in those songs. Okay, that must be said. Okay, so yeah, so now I'm off track. But yeah, call John McGuire. We can actually impact this. We need 2 more congressional Republicans to get on board with this, and then this thing can pass, and then we can get transparency. But we do have the Epstein victims themselves compiling a client list, so we're going to know the names no matter what. But this is a way for us to get involved and try to nudge this in our direction. I encourage everyone in the 5th District to do this. So, and if you're represented by a Republican anywhere where you can hear this now, call your congressman and say, hey, this is what we want.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. The latest news, did you want to mention that, or did you want to wrap? Or?
Well, we can just for a few seconds. Yeah, Charlie Kirk being shot, I guess. Are we going to call this an assassination yet? At a campus event, there was a counter protest at the event itself with about 50 to 60 people who opposed Charlie Kirk. We were chit-chatting about it earlier. You know, my take on Charlie Kirk is it was pretty obvious that he had some dark money coming in from the Zionist group the whole time. It was recently revealed earlier this year that whereas it was being presented to the public as though Turning Point USA and the Daily Wire were two separate things, that they were actually conjoined. They were actually like a project that was funded by the same people for the same reasons. They're obviously, more so TP USA than the Daily Wire. Turning Point USA is more so of what we might call a MAGA surrogate group or a Trump surrogate group. Charlie Kirk had done a lot of events with Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, for example. He had a lot of access to them. The Daily Wire would break from Trump more so, habitually speaking. But so, you know, people, Lisa was saying that she's heard that he said hateful things. I'm not quite sure that I've ever heard anything from Charlie Kirk that I interpreted to be hateful.
If you support Trump, you have hateful things you say.
Well, we don't want to alienate, a big portion of our audience, but with Charlie Kirk, I will say that he definitely played into what I consider to be more of a distractioneering issue. Like, he definitely hopped on the anti-trans train, so like he's definitely someone that's played with those identity politics in a way that is counterproductive and distracts from some of the more major issues while also sort of playing with the darker elements of political alchemy, so I do think that I don't think he was necessarily a good actor. Like, he wasn't transparent about his money sources. There were times when his position would like markedly change in response to the youth, so like he was more openly Zionist prior to the events of the past 2 years than he would be now. Like, he's more so playing to the audience now in terms of all that. So I don't think he was a good actor per se, but I personally didn't hear anything that was just outright hateful coming from him. We were kind of doing a little search of that earlier, but irregardless, this is not a good. This is not what we want in political discourse. We don't want people to be assassinated for their views and for that kind of thing. And it does remind us to sort of like, let's take a moment and de-escalate some of this and say, what we're trying to do here is have pleasant conversation, non-polarized conversation.
Okay, that's a good point.
Where we don't just accuse people of having hate in their heart without knowing them and knowing if that's
well,
true.
all right, because Nancy just said don't group people together like that.
Time to take your own advice. Oh, no, to say that part. No, read that. No, say that part.
Take your own advice.
Time to take your own advice.
Yeah, but then let me clarify what I said.
Okay.
Trump rhetoric is hateful. Agree or disagree?
Some Trump rhetoric inspires hate. Some. Yeah.
What he says, is it or is it not hateful?
Not every word that comes out of his mouth should be
interpreted
as hateful.
A lot of what he
That
says.
is what you're saying.
I did not say every word out of his mouth is hateful.
It is Trump. Trump has said things that can easily be interpreted as inspiring hate, especially in his first election cycle back in 2015.
I'm not asking about inspiration. I'm asking about just what he says.
I think Trump's words are very carefully chosen. So.
Like name-calling and bullying?
Oh, okay, so you consider that hateful?
Of course it is.
Okay, I see the name-calling as more strategy. So.
How would you feel if I called you names?
I wouldn't feel anything at all.
Bullshit. Nobody likes to be called names. But my point being,
but
if you want to call him a positive person, then I would disagree with you so long I'd be dead before I finished talking. And I think that modeling and behavior, which is why I don't like Charlie Kirk, he models that negative, hateful paradigm.
That
Bam! There's
posture.
your word.
So he parrots that posturing. He parrots like the posture.
Yes.
Well, I mean, what I see them all doing is they're all engaging in. I consider it like dark political arts. Like people, like anytime you're veering into identity politics, they don't really have strong substance in terms of like what our government can actually do for this identity group versus that identity group. I think anybody engaging in that is doing some kind of a dark art, and they've definitely made anything related to trans like the new gay marriage thing. So like gay marriage was the big polarizing culture war issue of the 90s and the aughts. Like now they had to like upgrade that to, you know, all this, anything related to trans. It's all like.
But the gay marriage is coming back too, because now they're going to consider striking down that.
Well, they can't do that because in 2022 they made it the law of the land nationally. Congress passed the Defense of Marriage Act.
They can walk it back just like Roe versus Wade.
No, what it doesn't. The difference between Roe versus Wade and Obergefell is that for Roe versus Wade, there's no national law. Whereas since 2022, congressional Democrats under the Joe Biden administration or
It's been
whoever was playing
introduced
Joe
to the
Biden.
Supreme Court. Oberfeld's it's been reintroduced to the Supreme Court.
Well, I believe you. I'm not up to date on these details, but this is the difference. If the Supreme Court overturns Obergefell, gay marriage will still exist all across the United States. And the reason why gay marriage will
State by state.
No, it won't be a states' rights issue because Congress passed the Defense of Marriage Act, and I believe it was 2022. So during the Joe Biden, whoever was playing Joe Biden on TV, during that administration, Congress passed the Defense of Marriage Act. Look it up. The Defense of Marriage Act. So,
Like irregardless.
and Sean's going to be right on that one too. Sean and Mariah Carey are going to be right on that one too.
What?
Okay.
How did we deviate off this?
You
we were talking
you
about
like to distract.
Charlie Kirk. No, I don't. Charlie
but-
Kirk modeling Trump in the negative, hateful red paradigm.
Yeah, and
Let's
then
get the
I
proper
was making the point that like the trans debates are the new gay marriage debates. It really doesn't amount to a whole heck of a lot in terms of like the core function of politics. But it plays into distractioneering and building a voter base on issues that are not as substantive. You know.
Okay, but
You know.
would you say it's dangerous?
Yes.
Charlie Kirk is dead.
Huh? Yeah,
He's
Charlie.
dead.
Yeah, it's dangerous for everyone involved. Live by the gun, die by the gun. You know.
So
Like-
shouldn't we break this
Yes. People should stop.
modeling or whatever?
Yes, people
Call
should-
it for what it is. It's
Yes.
hateful. Stop it.
Well, it's dark. It's dark and it's not appropriate for our political paradigm. That's what I'll say. But I think we have to. You know, here's the problem. You know, we have a legally distinct category called hate speech. So do things when you say hateful, I interpret that as hate speech. Do these things cross the line into hate speech? They don't do that these days. They play around that line. They don't do God
But
hates
you know-
they don't do God hates fags like they did in the 90s. They dance around the line.
You walked right into what I was about to
Yeah,
say.
they
It's
dance around
is
that
that
line.
what Jesus would do?
Oh, I don't know. We don't know, but I highly doubt it. Like, I don't think he would make hay off of. I don't think he would make hay off of dividing people. You know, I don't think that's what would happen. So Charlie Kirk participated in that. I disagree
Make
with all
America nice again.
that. Oh, well, good luck with that. But
Make
yeah.
humans nice again.
But this type of violent response is really not the answer. And you know, at some point, you know. At some point, we've got to de-escalate and tamp this down, and we have to learn how to talk to people we disagree with, which is why we shouldn't tell people that they're hateful without listening to them first. So, bam. Okay, that's all I had to say. What else did you have to say about anything?
Nah, I think we pretty much covered it. Just, did we want to make a quick commentary on our interview so far? Because we never really debriefed. Oh, no, but we did, because you said we're not endorsing anybody, which we're not really.
Yeah, well,
But
I'm not
this
endorsing
has
anybody.
really been
I don't
a
think you should
good.
either.
It's just, no,
Yeah.
I just want to say, in general,
Mhm.
it's been an excellent exercise. I think it has brought to the public, well, like you said, Jeff got 6,000 views
Yeah,
or something.
6,000 views. Like, we're obviously
And it's
having a
in-depth.
reach. Yeah. Mhm.
And it's a chance to see people for who they are, because most people don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah.
So I'm real excited about the next two we have coming up and hope we can do more.
Well, we're breathing life into local politics that hasn't existed.
Yeah,
And
that's a good way of putting it.
That's really what we're doing. We're breathing life into it because, you know, local politics here was, you know, you put out the same signs you put out 4 years ago, and then, you know, you roll the dice and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So,
I love you too, Nancy.
Yeah, we love you, Nancy. Thanks for all of your fantastic engagement.
Yeah,
okay,
we're
but
ready
do,
to
do you
visit.
want to debrief some of it? Anything you
Well,
want
no,
to say
that was
about?
kind of the main thing I wanted to say is it makes people real for you, because
Yeah.
it's, you know, I didn't know either one of these guys, and now I've got a lot of thoughts about having met them, just like you do when you meet anybody else.
Lisa made a Republican friend, guys.
All right, you fence border person, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, is it time to say goodnight, Gracie?
It's time to say
I'm
goodnight.
hungry and have a headache. And
Yeah,
we
Lisa wants
really
to.
have had a long week.
We've done a lot of content today, so this was just a 30-minute debrief.
Yeah.
But that's where we stand on
And
the
we'll
recent
see you
things.
Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you Friday. and
Double interview
we'll,
Friday.
We'll try to do something by next Wednesday too for another podcast episode.
Ta-ta.
Toodles.